Are you ready? I said you. And then I'm inside each time I lay with you. Why do I cry? Why do I fucking need you?
Yep.
Oh.
Yes. That's right. Ooh, we're back with another great reaction. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
That's Booby.
And Jumpy and Ghosty and Vinny's awesome shirt that looks really great on him.
You're making a bigger deal out of this shirt.
Oh no, it looks very
nice.
nice.
It cost me $7.
Really?
At TJ Maxx.
Well, you went about 2 sizes too small, but it looks great.
I auditioned for a play, dear listener.
He did.
And I got it.
Got the part.
I got the part.
He's gonna be playing some woman's boyfriend.
So I gotta come correct, you know? You know what I'm saying? Huh? For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with...
I need to see if I can hear the hoofs. Here come my white knights.
We'll do a play with you, sorry.
Yes.
We'll do a play with you.
All right, go ahead.
You can hit us up at Middle America with Vinny and Sorry. I don't know. I might shoot one tonight. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Oh no. There's always funny stuff going in the political realm right now.
Oh, it's absolute. I mean, you got Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is Metallica.
Okay. It's back.
Metallica.
Yes.
Leper Messiah from the Master of Puppets record. This should be very, very interessante.
I have never heard this song.
Before.
Very excited.
This is probably like
Here,
the least.
take your headphones.
The least hyped song on Master of Puppets.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know this song was on Master of Puppets.
Oh.
I only know one line.
Yes, you look very hyped.
I only know one line on this thing.
What? You have not been sleeping at night. Literally, it was daylight, and I saw you still sitting up in bed.
Yeah. Well, I got my stretches in.
For a long time.
Yeah, I got a bunch
woke
of
up, I'm like,
stretches
where's Vinny? And then I looked and I saw you stretching at the edge of the bed, like down on the bottom, the foot of the bed. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Got my planks in, got my stretches, so things are going well.
You got the air guitar?
Well, I don't know if this is I don't know. We'll see. All right.
It's just been so long.
Just
ready?
push play.
Go. I can't believe that's where it was from.
That's true, Jim Baker, you lying bastard. Fuck you.
I can't hear what he's saying over my headphones, so.
When does the song?
Did he say busted?
I think that was good. I think he said that was good. All right, well, rewind it. Hold on. It's not that far back, right? I think he said that was good. I don't know. Anyway.
All right. I feel like that this is, wow. It's kind of timely in the sense of, I didn't realize it, but apparently, I'm sure you guys know about this, but apparently there was like some religious people that were selling like this silver water that cures coronavirus or something like that.
Yeah, it's Jim Baker.
Yeah, other people. But I've heard actually silver water is good for healing lots of things. Remember that guy Nate I used to date? Him and his family were right into that.
Yeah, but not for coronavirus.
I don't know.
I mean, what the hell?
I don't know. I mean,
all these people dying all over the world, all they needed was some of Jim Baker's silver water? Nobody knew about that shit except for Jim Baker? Nah, man.
Okay, but it just reminded me of that with the whole, making money off people.
Yeah, it's
Oh my gosh. That's so terrible. When you really think about it, like, that's like on the top 10 list, I think, of evil people, is somebody who's going to capitalize off somebody else's fear of the afterlife and make money off of them. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean...
But, it does happen a lot.
It happens a ton. Let's see.
They arrested him, right?
Yeah, the AG orders televangelist Jim Baker to stop advertising silver solution as a coronavirus treatment. I want to see what the guy actually said.
Is that him?
Yeah. That's him right there. I don't know what he actually said, but he served 5 years of a 45-year sentence for stealing millions from his ministry, the Praise the Lord Club. Wow. He's also accused of raping a young woman, a church's secretary in the 80s. SubhanAllah. See? That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes, like, the thing is that there are, like, really good stand-up dudes that don't care about the money at all. Like, we knew a guy that in order to start the church, like, he put out the most money and he didn't collect a single cent.
Yep.
He didn't collect a red cent. As a matter of fact, he spent his own money on a multitude of occasions. So there are... Leave
this page.
What?
James Orson Baker is an American, this is like when you Google his name, is an American televangelist, entrepreneur, and convicted fraudster. Can you imagine? Like, that's in your thing? American televangelist and fraudster. That's so bad. Like, what happens to somebody?
Yeah, and then a part of me is like, if you know this is this dude's record, like, what possesses you to buy anything from him?
Honey, there's so many people that don't know.
They don't know. Jim Baker's a fraudster? You didn't know that he was a fraudster?
Well, I
want to see this video where he's doing this shit, though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what is it now? Silver something?
Silver. Yeah, it's just silver water, basically.
I'm just going to say coronavirus. Let's see what he does. Here it is right here.
Selling liquid that kills.
Coronavirus. Alright, let's hear it.
This influenza that is now circling the globe, you're saying that silver solution would be effective.
Well, let's say it hasn't been tested on this strain of the coronavirus, but it's been tested on other strains of the coronavirus and has been able to eliminate it within 12 hours. Totally eliminate it, kills it, deactivates it. And then it boosts your immune system, so then you can support the recovery, because when you kill the virus, then the immune system comes into action to clear it out. So you want a vibrant immune system as well.
Yeah, you look very healthy, lady.
Viruses.
This is not it, though.
Yeah, this is a silver solution he was
but that's not him talking about it. Like, I want to see his...
A respite and give us air for what's coming.
Like, there was another one that was
God
like...
has spoken to us to prepare for what's coming. I believe Donald Trump was given by God to give us a respite and give us a time.
Look at the music they're playing in the background. This is obviously not theirs.
Do you think the evil Antichrist spirit is sitting back?
No.
They're fighting tooth and toenail. They're fighting the president.
Yeah.
They want.
Oh, so if you're against President Trump, you're part of the spirit of the Antichrist.
This is. Oh no.
Did I tell you that anti-vaxxer girl? She she said that her sister was deceived and on the side of Satan
That's crazy.
because she's not an anti-vaxxer. Anyway, I don't want to. But like, people are scared to death over this. It's like mass hysteria.
I know. Yeah.
You know, and then if you look at him, like, he obviously appeals to an older demographic, right?
Yep.
And like the elderly are the most vulnerable to coronavirus. Like,
Yep.
So it's just horrible, man. Like, you know, like you can't. You hear stuff like this, you hear songs like this, you feel like they're coming after, like, you as a Christian. Like, I don't feel like they're coming after
Oh,
me.
I don't. Yeah. No.
Like, these are people who, you know, you look at Jesus, like, he never got rich off of what he was doing. Like,
No.
he got him killed. Like,
Yeah.
like, ministry, like, real, like, grinded out, like, dirt under your fingernails ministry is supposed to leave you tired and generally below the poverty line. Like, if you're the leader, like, you know, like I said, there was that guy and he, you know, he poured like literally thousands of dollars into the thing and they helped a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But there were a bunch of, you know, young people and none of them had any money.
Yeah.
And our, you know, dudes like took him aside and said, hey man, you need to collect a salary. And he was like,
From where?
From where? These are all poor people, all on drugs and whatever. So, like, people know the difference between the real ones and the fraudsters. The problem is that, like, you know, like I said, I told you the story one time. My brother went to one of these R.W. Shambach, you know, ministry thingamajiggies, and this girl was in a wheelchair, and he basically lifted her out of the wheelchair and said, "Take a step," and like she like took a half. And this is like this giant miracle. Mm-hmm. So marvel at his tricks, and it's this weird thing that happens where people do not believe what's like right in front of them. Like, because to me, I was like, this dude just lifted her out of the chair and she took like a half a step. That's not a miracle. Like, you don't need God for that. But there's a family member of mine that was like completely taken by it. He was shocked, blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, like he just lifted her out of the chair. Like, there's no miracle here. Like
I see what you're saying.
I've never been a skeptic as far as
because when Jesus healed that guy, the guy stood up, wrapped up his own mat, took it, and walked off.
Yeah, it was like, obvious. Like, you know,
this guy props her up, and she takes a little half a step. It's not like a.
Well, the thing is, like, doctors, you know, there's a reason there's a term medical miracle, right? There's things that happen where at doctors' offices where they go, I don't know, based on everything I've been trained at.
Right.
But the doctor doesn't take credit for it. Mm-hmm. But then you compare that to somebody lifting some woman out of a wheelchair and trying to take credit for some sort of miracle.
Yeah.
And then passing around the offering plate after that when everybody's ginned up on all this emotion. And I was so confused. I was like, why are you looking at him like that? We were like 20 feet away from the dude. Mm-hmm. So like we saw everything, not the stuff that they edit out on the camera. Like I saw the whole thing go down. And so he was like right next to me. I'm like, yo, like but you know, at the time he was trying to find his own spirituality, and my mom was really big into that guy, and it was right down the park. It was by Malali Park where we used to play basketball in the Bronx. And so he was doing a revival or whatever. And he was a guy we saw on TV all the time. And so, you know, like, I was excited to go there. I was like going there, I was full of expectation and all that. So I wasn't going there as like some skeptic. I was going there as a guy who, like, I was 11, 12, but I was, you know, I was going there as a person who was like wanting to see something amazing happen. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw what he did, I was like, this is not. My thought process was, okay, maybe he had an off day.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, this is all bullshit.
Yeah,
you know,
he's a
of course.
fraud.
Now I know that the guy was full of shit. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I wasn't even going there. I was just like, yo, no, that's not a miracle. But he was like spellbound. He was shocked. He completely suspended his mental faculties for this particular moment. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, so confused. But then I looked at the crowd and like everybody was like, "Oh my God," blah blah blah. And I was like,
I think that people want
that's crazy
so badly to like see something or be a part of something that's bigger than what they are, that they're more likely to be like, yes, we're, you know what I mean, than what's actually going on. I remember like those tent meetings. They would put up this giant tent downtown, and like this evangelist would come in from like I don't even know where, and he would preach up a storm. And I remember the excitement and being like, every single time I went to those, I always felt like my life could be completely different when I leave this. Like something crazy could happen. You know what I mean? It was different than church, because it was like church had kind of become like you kind of knew what to expect. But like the evangelist, the traveling evangelist is coming. It's going to be crazy. And then I remember like kind of making like, well, maybe not this time. It'll be next time. And always keeping my hopes up that something insane was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, there would be some messages that were really good and people would, you know, go up to the front and they would want to become Christians. But I don't know if... I don't know if that ended up like lasting, or if it was just in the excitement of that night. I don't really know.
Well, yeah, and I'm not necessarily like mad at that. Like I said, I'm not one of these like skeptical whatever. I couldn't be because of circumstances that happened to me when I was a baby, like undeniable medical miracle stuff that just so happened to happen after the pastor prayed. So like, you know, I haven't like done a full on discussion about it, but I am not a like complete skeptic when it comes to miracles. I believe in miracles. I'm a Christian. I just having been raised on watching TBN my entire life, watching Benny Hinn knock people over with his jacket, you know, they've got the drowning pool, let the bodies hit, which we've never done that song before. You know, when he's like, you know, knocking people down,
machine gun.
The Holy Spirit machine gun, like all this craziness, like, yo, like.
But then there were people that were really healed at his services.
Yeah. I mean, dead clock's right twice a day. You know?
Well, no, I think what you said before, like it wasn't that they were just gonna, if they wouldn't have been at that service, all of a sudden they would have got their hearing back or whatever. But
God would have done it anyway.
God did that for them, because maybe those people were going there in a genuine pursuit of God, and they genuinely pursuing, even though the guy that was doing it was off, you know, God will meet people in different places and in different ways. So
yeah, I just think, you know, I get very, very skeptical about the capitalization of this stuff, like where it's like, oh, now we can open up for business and sell stuff. So like, for example, like one story that always that to me is the paradigm for how you're supposed to handle miracles is Jesus' first encounter with Peter. Peter is a fisherman, and he's been fishing all night. He didn't catch anything.
Yep.
And then Jesus says, well, toss it over this side of the boat. And Peter's like, I've been fishing all night. This is what I've done my entire life. But since you say so, I'll do it. And then sure enough, they can't even haul in the fish. Now, you know the fraud's from the real, because the minute Peter saw it, he understood he was in the presence of some divine, not necessarily God being, but some divine sort of being. And he said, get away from me, I'm an unclean person. And then Jesus says, don't be afraid, Peter. From now on, you'll be fishers of men. And then he leaves his fish behind. He leaves the business behind. And he goes to follow Jesus. And then he follows him all the way to the cross.
Yep.
But it seems like if Jim Baker was there, he'd have been like, yo, whoa, hey. We could just, do you know how much money we could make if you just did this like 5 times a week? And so like, when you have somebody that wants to commoditize and capitalize on a miracle and sell miracles, and it's, of course, now being in this industry, like you start to realize the importance of ratings and how many people watch your stuff and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And now it became clear to me, this was about ratings and watching and money and capitalism, and people on the outside were able to peg this stuff immediately, but people from the inside were blinded by it. And sometimes, like, I get angry at the at the preacher and the huckster who's doing it. But then on other times I'm like, yeah, but how could you fall for something like that? Like, didn't you read your Bible? Like, when do you ever see anything like this in the New Testament?
Yeah, but the thing is, you kind of do, because they do put a lot of... I don't know if you've read the material of some of the places that send off this stuff, but they'll put a lot of verses, they'll just kind of take them out of context. And so then people will read it, and then they'll think that they know what's going on, and so then...
Yeah, but like one of these guys is talking about, oh, you're scared about coronavirus. I have blessed this little thing, and if you pay $19.99, I'll send you my blessed handkerchief.
Honey, a lot of these people, they come from a Catholic background, and the blessed holy water was something that was very important to Catholic
the priest
living.
wasn't selling it. He wasn't selling it. He wasn't saying, hey,
how do you get your holy water? Where would you get it?
You go to church, and then
they would just bless
right
it?
at the beginning, he would sprinkle it on you, and you go.
No. If you wanted to take some with you.
If you wanted to take some, you wouldn't buy it.
I'm pretty sure you buy holy water online. Yes. And the thing is...
But again, that's my point. Where do you see that in the Bible where you buy something blessed?
No. I hear what you're saying.
Okay, that's my point.
Yes, but I'm telling you that a lot of people have a background in Catholicism, and they're used to that.
Yeah, well, that's I go
because
back. I go
anytime
back
there's
and
been
forth.
some miracle, then they're going to start selling stuff from where that miracle took place.
Right, and that's.
And I don't think that it's right, but I can see how people get sucked into it because
I don't how.
If you're somebody that already struggles with, low self-esteem and trying to understand, if you understand the things about God and God is so big, and then you're like, you just trust the people that.
God is so big that He can't bless you without paying $19.99 in shipping?
No, because it makes it look like... What they try to make it look like is, do you want it that bad? Like, are you willing to put a little seed in the ground to reap some benefits? Or do you want to just get free things all the time?
Yes, I want to...
Yes, well, people are not going to say that.
Because freely you are given, freely give.
Yes.
Heal the sick.
Yep. But there's some verse in Matthew about something about planting a seed or something like that. There was some Matthew verse.
There's no verse in the New Testament where Jesus ever sells a miracle.
No, I know that there's not. But I'm telling
Peter.
you that they're using verses, and they just throw little verses out there enough to get somebody by, and then people don't want to take the chance.
I just feel like...
Honey, the church has been selling indulgences. It's been doing all kinds of stuff.
I think the indulgence thing is different.
That's all the same.
No, it's not the same, because indulgences were spiritual blackmail. And these people didn't have Bibles.
Yeah.
The Bibles were not printed in the lingua franca prior to the Reformation.
Yes, but I think people still have the mindset that even though the Bible's right there, they can't really understand it. And a lot of these people are carrying around the King James Version.
Doesn't matter.
And they're not understanding.
You don't need to have a modern translation to know that there was not one instance where Jesus or any of the apostles ever sold a miracle.
Tell me why people are doing it if it's not that they're confused and they're different. You think people are like, well, I just want to be ripped off.
Well,
I want to be taken for all I have.
Well, here's what happens. Here's what happens, and this is why I say at some level they're culpable. It's their own fault to some degree. And here's why I say it's their own fault to some degree. Because a person that's outside of the religion can see it immediately and do the calculus and go, this guy's full of shit. Conversely, an outsider could look at a genuine miracle and say, okay, like for example, I did the whole debate about pacifism thing or whatever, and I had an atheist. The atheist was the one that was moderating the actual debate.
Yeah.
And then I talked about Desmond Doss in World War II, and how because of his convictions to follow Jesus, he wouldn't even train with a rifle.
Yeah.
And then this guy went into combat in some of the most high casualty areas and came out without a scratch, got the Medal of Honor, and the guy messaged me on the side, and he goes, okay, I got to admit that's he said it's intriguing. So what I'm saying is, like, atheists, unbelievers, whatever you want, outsiders, whatever you want to call them, they come, sure, with a skeptical bias, but they're not, like, completely irrational. When something is, like, when they're honestly looking at something and something is inexplicable, they'll go, okay. I'm not going to say God did it, but they'll go, okay. But at the same time, they also know, okay, that's bullshit. You bless this holy thing and now you're selling it all over the place. Okay, that's bullshit. That's what I'm saying, is they're able to do that. So when you have a religious person and they have what I'm saying is they want to be sold a bill of goods because they want an easier life. So, for example, instead of developing a theology of suffering, where you reconcile how God can still be good and loving and all the rest of it, while at the same time your mom has cancer, that's hard work.
Yeah.
And so they would much rather spend $19 to aid in their own delusion that they can circumvent that pain by just getting, whatever. On the other hand, I know somebody who they had a physical malady, and he basically gave away his life savings to these evil people, and he basically got evicted and died basically in a old folks home or some halfway house or whatever, because he had no money because they took his money. So on that perspective, I go, okay, this is a guy who's alone and he's desperate and he's in a situation where he feels he has nowhere else to turn.
Yeah.
That's one category of person. But then there's just another category of person to me that's just like, I just don't understand. Like, how can you... There's not one... It doesn't matter even if you don't think you can understand the Bible. There's not one single time when Jesus ever put a price tag on anything. Mm-hmm. Feeding of the 5,000. He never did.
Yeah.
So how... Are you, like, what is the disconnect? Like, that is a serious question, like,
I don't think that they're reading their Bibles.
Yeah,
and if they are, I think they're not understanding it. Like, I don't know how many conversation. Well, because I don't think that people feel like religion has reasonableness or common sense. That it's a spiritually driven thing,
that's ridiculous.
And so you can't use reason or common sense with it.
We've produced some of the most brilliant philosophers and scientists in the
yes, I'm talking about modern
Jonathan
people.
Edwards,
I don't see
Thomas
people
Aquinas,
back then getting sucked into something like that.
You think the modern person could read 5 pages of Augustine and know what he's talking about?
That's to my point, right?
John Owen. No, it's not to your... I'm saying, like, modern, like, neo-atheists, they couldn't read John Owen and figure out what he's saying. Like, John Owen is, like, millions of
When was John Owen alive?
About 150 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Christians back then, people back then, I don't think get sucked into the same things that people nowadays do.
Oh, you're right.
People nowadays, they don't have the understanding about things that people did back then. I don't think that people use reasoning as much as they do. I'm talking about people that are sucked into certain religions. And that's why people say you're blind in your religion. I don't see people saying that back then to them, because they had full rounded views of what they were saying, and I think that people get sucked into it. I'm telling you, it's awful when you see somebody who's sucked into these televangelist ideas, and they're giving away their money, but they don't have the... Maybe it's a lack of motivation. Maybe it's fear of not being able to understand. Maybe it's they've tried to read the Bible that they have and it's a King James Version and it doesn't make any sense to them. And so...
You blame the King James Version for that?
Yes. Honey, I'm talking about people that I've met that are not well-educated people. Trying to read a King James Version is extremely difficult, and I don't understand why you're laughing.
Because I don't know how you go from the KJV is difficult to understand because it's in Elizabethan English to... I'm gonna pay $20 for this rag.
Because they don't know. They don't have answers. They're trying to read it. They don't understand it. So they're going by what someone else is telling them. Somebody else writes a verse down, explains what that verse means, and then they say, you want to reconnect with your family? You want your family to have a healthy life? Send this money to us.
What verse from the King James Version would you use?
I told you. I showed you the write-up. It was like Matthew 15:18 or something like that. I don't know. It was a verse in Matthew and it had something about a seed in it. Matthew Ministries, Matthew.
And the seed was about buying a miracle?
Yeah, something like that.
I guarantee you.
Mustard seed, no.
He had faith as small and mustard seed.
No, it literally said Matthew. Maybe they're no longer around anymore. Remember, I showed it to you.
What comes out of the mouth is what makes a man corrupt. That's Matthew 15:18.
No, that's
I don't know. You know, we built Princeton, we built Harvard, we built Yale. Like, those are our institutions. Like, all those things started out as Christian institutions. There is a
I understand that, but that was back then.
There's a massive intellectual history in Western Christianity.
Yes, but now,
like,
people say to you all the time, they're like, Vin, they'll put out some question and you'll be like, a kid in Sunday school could answer that. I don't believe that you're right. I think that we've let our minds turn to mush on a lot
No,
of
you're
areas.
talking about the Aaron Ra conversation where he was asking me why it took the Israelites 40 years to get from Egypt to the Promised Land.
Well, I do think that a lot of people would have a question with that.
You can't.
but
That was a dumb. I said that was a dumb question, bro. But that's
I'm not even
the
talking
same,
about that. I'm
that's
not even talking
the
about
same
that.
as
No,
this.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the stuff that I've been seeing you typing about, and people are saying there was something that somebody just put out, and you were like basically saying. Remember when I put something out there that was like, oh, when you're seeing somebody, who knows their Bible debating something out. Remember that whole thing? It was like right around there.
Yeah, well, we're talking about different things here. Because here's what I'm talking about. If somebody were to say, Jesus is really Superman, and he walked around with a Superman cape, and he flew around all over Nazareth in a Superman cape, and then he jumped into a phone booth and then changed, and he went back to regular Jesus. Everybody would say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. Beware of, right here. St. Matthew's Church's scams. I think this is the one. Oh, she's warning them about it. Yeah, this is the place. St. Matthew's Church's scams.
Okay, so...
St. Matthew's Church's.
Okay, there's St. Matthew's Church's scam. Okay, so
yes,
what?
but I'm telling you, like, this is what that lady that she had, and she didn't have her... Where can I see their... Church Seed Faith. This is some of their stuff.
Uh-huh. Okay, what verse are they quoting to buy a miracle in the New Testament? Where is it?
I don't know. Where do you donate the money? I don't know. It would take me a while to find that. I just jumped on their website.
What I'm saying is, just go with the Superman thing. Like, that's ridiculous. There's no text that says that Jesus is flying around in a red cape and jumping into a phone booth in Nazareth. There aren't even any phone booths in Nazareth at the time. Like, that's how dumb.
Biblical Seed Harvest Plan. That's what it is. It's a Biblical Seed Harvest Plan.
Okay,
Which
go
one?
ahead.
Here?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
The man born blind is healed. The gospel according to St. John. The blind man received a miracle after he followed the faith instructions and took the steps of faith that Jesus gave him. The tangible point of faith contact item was clay, spit, and water. Jesus spat on the ground and made clay of the spit, and he anointed his eyes on the blind man with clay, said unto him, go wash in the pool of Siloam. And he went his way and washed, and he came back seeing. Thank God for the Biblical Seed Harvest Plan.
Okay, where do you find in that
Very
text
few
that-
people plan it, they just blah, blah, blah.
Where do you find in that you can buy a miracle?
No, you can. This is just one little... What's the next page? Previous page? First?
What verse are they quoting that says you can buy a miracle?
I saw it.
There's no
Wait,
verse,
what's this?
sweetheart. With
No.
God all things are possible?
No, I'm saying they're used something about planting a seed. I'm telling you that they took it out of context. That I know.
Okay, well, you can show it to me later. I'm
But-
saying that the guy who deceives them is absolutely in God's mind going to get judged much more harshly. But I don't think we can completely let all these people off the hook, is what I'm saying.
I don't think that they should be let off the hook either. Like, I think that you are
You're
responsible for your own mind. You are responsible for work out your own. What is that? Work out your
Salvation
own
with fear and trembling.
Could you use that verse there? Like, you have to be responsible for your part.
Well,
in,
there's lots of commands in the Bible.
feeding your spirituality,
Be
but-
sober-minded.
But if you're in a situation where you feel like
Have your mind dressed and ready for action. This is and I understand an atheist like not understanding all the commands about training the mind, and especially in the New Testament.
yeah.
I understand why they don't understand that because they don't read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're calling yourself a Christian and you got a Bible, it doesn't matter if it's KJV or whatever. It says, train your mind, be sober-minded. Be sober-minded means be sober-minded, be awake, be aware.
Yeah.
And there's also warnings in the scripture about people who are trying to profit off the gospel. Like, it's there. Like, it specifically says, these dudes are going to show up, they're going to try to fleece you. Don't be a damn fool. So, and so that's the thing, is like, why are you giving these people, why are you giving these people a pass? I don't understand it.
Because I've sat with some of these people, and like the lady that I was talking to, like she said, I try to read it, but I don't really understand it when I try to read it. And then, but those little pamphlets that were coming to her, she understood those pamphlets. You know, to start off your day each day, you read a daily prayer, a scripture, and an encouraging word from the Lord on your computer. To do this, you just click on they make this thing very easy for those people that came straight to her house. And then they were saying, like, if you want, you plant a seed.
So what did you tell her?
I told her that it was wrong and that wasn't according to the scriptures. And I told her they were scamming her, and she heard what I was saying, and I showed her other verses, but I told them to stop contacting her. I told her, like, I can take that over, because she was afraid to actually say to them, stop contacting me. So she had me do it, but now I look back and I'm like, she probably went right back and contacted them, because she was fearful, and she hadn't seen her son. You know, like, a lot of times there'll be different family situations, and family life will get kind of crazy, and then the kids kind of disown their parents for a while, and then they kind of circle back around. But she was pretty sick, and her son was kind of like away. So she was trying to send them the money to get her miracle, so that way her son would be of good health, and that she would get to reconnect with him before she died. So she had a limited time. And so these people were doing this and just taking from this woman. She had nothing. She had this crappy little apartment. She had her little dog in there, and like, it wasn't a nice place, and it was just so terrible. Like,
yeah, those people, man. Like, look here. Look, I don't care what translation this is. Here's 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 17.
But you have to find this verse.
No, you said
most people open the Bible and start in the Old Testament. You know how long it would take them to get to 2 Corinthians?
Unlike so many, we do not peddle the word of God for profit. I mean, what else?
Yep.
What else?
Yep.
You're saying.
I already said that to you.
You're saying.
Look, you've got. Just so we're all on the same page here. Now, because I'm in a rush, I can't.
What do you mean you're on the same page? What are you demonstrating?
I'm demonstrating. Okay, where was that? 2 Corinthians?
Okay. Woe to them, they have gone in the way of Cain.
This is the Bible. This is where Genesis is, and everybody I'm sure that's watching this video has heard of Genesis. So if you were to start reading, you'd probably say, I'm going to start with Genesis. And look how far you have to go before you find out that they were not profiting off the people. That's a long ways.
I'm sorry.
That's nothing.
I just think that's...
You can whatever, but that's
first
exactly...
of all, most Christians don't even read the Old Testament.
I'm talking about people that don't know about this stuff.
Most Christians read the New Testament.
So then, they're going to take all that time to get there.
You think the people who are getting fooled by these people don't know the difference between the Old and the New Testament?
I think...
You trying to tell me that?
I'm not saying all of them.
You're trying to make
Give me this.
Hold on.
Give me my
Here's another one. I'm reading from the King James.
Oh, you should see how far my Bible is.
You tell me.
Because Jude is one of the last books of the Bible.
All right, dear listener. You tell me.
Give me my Bible.
If this King
You're
James,
crunching it.
if this King James language is so confusing, and that's why you're being deceived by Jim Baker on the thing. Hold on. No. Let me read.
Give me my Bible.
Woe to them! They have gone in the way of Cain. They have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit. You mean to tell me?
Yeah, I mean that.
You mean to tell me that nobody can understand what that means? That these are evil people who are doing it for profit?
That doesn't tell me that you shouldn't buy Baker's silver.
Okay, well.
Who are these people?
Your blood is on your own head then.
I'm going to show you where Jude is.
Jude is right before the book of Revelation, actually.
I know.
And the book of Revelation is probably the most popular book in the entire Bible.
Right, which means they're not reading Jude, they're reading Revelation.
You're ridiculous. Well, there's stuff about that in Revelation
This
too.
is where Jude is.
This is all
what you'd have to go through before you get there. And people start in Genesis.
People do not start in Genesis. They started the New Testament.
No, you're wrong. Lots of people start at the beginning. They go Genesis,
we'll disagree
then they go Exodus,
and
then they start getting into like Leviticus, the laws.
We'll just agree to disagree.
And then before you know it,
they've
given up the whole thing. And they never make it to 2 Corinthians.
How many human beings have you ever actually ran into that have not read the Gospel of John?
Oh, I met bunches of people that said they started in Genesis and gave up.
I'm talking about Christians who would actually give their money. I'm not talking about people who casually look at the Bible.
Yeah, but you didn't read. You weren't reading from John. You were reading from 2 Corinthians and Jude.
I'm talking about people who haven't just gotten their Bible, but they're actually dedicated so much.
Lots of Christians read John.
Okay then. So
Well, how does that help you?
So your entire argument about, oh my gosh, look how deep this is in the Bible is ridiculous because
it's
all
not.
we're dealing with is the New Testament.
That's no.
True or false? Most Christians you know are more familiar with the New Testament than the Old Testament.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about
Then the
most
argument, so
Christians.
you just conceded
No,
the
I'm
argument.
talking about people
You
that
just
would get
conceded the
sucked
argument.
into the St. Matthews thing.
I
Well,
think
we're going to let the
you're-
audience decide.
You're trying
because
to give
you're
these people,
completely wrong.
You're trying to give these people a complete pass.
No, I'm not trying to give them a complete pass.
You are.
No.
You are.
No.
And
I'm not.
I you know,
I don't have a complete pass.
my perspective on it is pretty much what Paul did with the Galatians. So when he talked about the teachers of the people leading them astray,
Yeah.
he said, you guys are going straight to hell. You guys are going to hell, and that's it. But when he talked about the Galatians, the people who were being led astray, he didn't say, oh, you poor. He said, you foolish Galatians, who's bewitched you?
Yep.
He held them accountable.
That's true.
He didn't do this nonsense that you're doing, trying to, whatever. But anyway, I think it's a good song. I didn't know that's the metal. I mean, it was just like, it had that kind of like dime bag type of attitude.
I thought the same thing.
Like, it was like, what's up? Like,
Yep.
like wearing a little jean jacket with a little Metallica, little thingy on it or whatever.
Oh,
But-
like a patch.
But, yeah. I don't know.
Say what you want.
It's a very, very, very interesting situation, and it look, if they would have read their Bibles, then they wouldn't have been in that situation. But Paul went through this with the Corinthians, right?
Yeah.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, obviously
You have no
you did.
idea
You were
what I'm
reading
talking
2
about.
Corinthians
You don't know what I-
2:17, which was him talking about it. So obviously he did go through that with them.
You don't know what I'm talking about, though.
Well, I know that a shadow was cast. There was also a cloth that got sent somewhere, and then people try to use that verse. Yeah.
Did they sell it? Did they sell the thing? Huh?
No, they're not selling. Well, some of them they are selling that. It's true.
All right. There you go.
All right. Well, what do you give the song?
I give this song a 10. I think it's like a legitimate. It's a 10. It's something that it needs to be talked about over and over and over and over again, because obviously it's still an issue in the church.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, I can't understand it. I can't relate to it. My mom was a big TBN fan, but when Benny Hinn would start on this bullshit, she'd be like, "Oh, stop, Benny. That don't make no sense." Like, I was never like given this sort of weird Christianity where you were supposed to suspend your mental faculties because the holy guy showed up.
Uh-huh.
Like, she liked him, but when she heard something she didn't agree with, she's like, "Nah, that's bullshit." So I never had this, I never had that sort of understanding or experience of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. But are you saying you did? You had that experience with Christianity, or you were told not to think?
Well, I mean, kind of. Like, nobody answered your questions. If you had questions, nobody was going to give you answers. And, like, I remember asking, getting to a certain point where I was like, I need an answer to this. And I would always avoid asking questions, because when I would ask questions, it would make them super uncomfortable. And you could just feel like that. And you would never get your answer anyway. So I stopped really asking too many questions. Of course, I got some of the typical take it by faith and stuff like that. So
look at this. Here's
you don't want to hear the rest of my story.
I'll
tell them.
Here's 2 Corinthians 11.
So in the end, I just
look what he says.
stopped
I'm actually
asking.
trying to read the Bible here.
I know, but I was answering the question that you asked, and then you rudely.
Okay, well you can do a layer. There's a bunch of white knights trying to help you right now. Okay, what I'm saying with this boastful confidence, I say not as the Lord would, but as a fool. Since many boasting according to the flesh, I too will boast. For you gladly bear with fools, being wise yourself. For you bear it if someone makes a slave of you, or devours you, or takes advantage of you, or puts on airs, or strikes you in the face. To my shame, I must say, we were too weak for that. Like, he's confronting them for, like, you're letting these people make slaves of you. What's a slave? A person who's a slave is a person who works for free, puts on airs, takes advantage of you, devours you. Like, he is going after them for that, is what I'm saying. And you're saying that if they read that verse in the KJV, they're not going to be able to understand that they should not let themselves get taken advantage of by fake people?
Yeah, because I don't think they think they're getting taken advantage of. They're looking for a solution to their problems.
Yeah. Do you really believe that?
Mm-hmm.
You
I
believe
really do.
somebody can read that?
Yep.
And come out with that conclusion?
Mm-hmm. I think that somebody could read that and okay, listen. Because I believe in God and the supernatural things that God does, I believe that God can reveal that to those people over time if they study if they study the Bible. But I just think that a lot of times people
over
don't.
time.
Yeah, I think that God...
It's not readily obvious.
I don't think that the minute that they open, they're going to suddenly be like, oh, I'm going to quit supporting that ministry. That was easy. I don't believe it's going to be like that. I think that they're going to have to read for a little while, and then they're going to start coming across stuff like this. This doesn't seem to match. That doesn't seem to match.
I mean, at the end of the day, the dudes that are doing this and deceiving these people, whew, that's going to be a rough
I know,
chat.
it's terrible.
That's going to be a rough chat. At the same time, I mean, the moral of the story, I guess, is read your Bible so that you won't get tricked by these idiots, these fools. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you know, was it Paula White or whatever? She said a couple of weeks ago, don't pay your light bill. Plants, give me some more money. It's like these people are running around in private jets, man. Like they're
Don't
really
pay your light bill?
Yeah. She basically said if it's between the light bill or, you know, sewing into my ministry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, it's insane. I don't understand this stuff. Like, I'll never understand it. There it is, right there. Newsweek.com. See? First hit. Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula White, appeals to Christians to give to the church before paying mortgages or electric bills.
Wait. Is she talking about, is that taken out of context and she's talking about, like, so for instance, we were told, you know, you give your tithes, which was 10% of your earnings. So when you first get it, the first thing that we always did was you just give your 10% to God. And people look at that and they're like, oh my gosh. But it wasn't that, like it wasn't like, oh no, I'm down to this or that and now I'm not going to pay my electricity. Like,
your father had a small business.
Yeah.
So you guys were never in that situation. But there's lots of
but I'd have to hear what she said. Did she say...
I don't have to hear what she said. It's bullshit. Why do you have to hear what she says?
No, because I'm saying maybe she was saying, you know, before...
So let's just say I get paid $1,000 and I pay my mortgage first. Or I pay, what's the electric company here? FPO. I pay FPO first instead of bringing the first tip to the house of God every week, which clearly is instructed throughout the Word of God.
No, it's not.
Then what I'm saying is...
Old Testament.
FBO, I just made you chief. I just made you
That's what I was taught.
I just made you the basis to support all structure. So FBO, heal my child. FBO, find my children that are lost. FBO, open the door for me to get promotion. FBO, I serve you. FBO, I honor you.
Okay, again, selling the miracle. The first fruit stuff was an Old Testament thing, but even then, you were not told if you give your first fruits, there's going to be a miracle. This is the thing I'm talking about right here. Where does it say that? It doesn't say that anywhere.
No, it doesn't. I agree.
And you get all these idiots just, oh yeah, that's right. Oh shit, I should have gave it to you. Like,
well, I'm going to tell you that when I was, you know, like when I was a teenager and I was working and I would get my check and then I would take the very, very first thing I would spend my money on is I would take my money and I would set it aside to give to the church so that way people could be helped and they could be told the truth about the gospel and stuff like that. And that was such a good thing for me. I was healthy. I loved it.
Well, you were part of a small church and you knew the pastor. So you knew that the money was going to help people. You could see it. Or like that other guy when he started his church. He knew exactly. Well, he knew.
I really, honestly, I don't know. I don't know that.
What do you mean you don't know that?
I don't know.
Okay, well, here's what you do know. If he all of a sudden started rolling up in a Range Rover and a Lambo, you would know that too.
Right.
That's not what's happening with these televangelists. We don't know these people.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like, I think it's good to tell a kid, hey, your money should be given to help the less fortunate, yada, 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 yada. Like, we try to model that ethos to our kids. But that's not what's happening here. This is the healing, all your kids finding God, all these things are held hostage because you paid your light bill before you sent me the money. Like, that's crazy. And they're just sitting there, oh yeah. And look, they're all well dressed. I mean, come on, babe. All these people are dumb. They're not dumb. Look, they're all well dressed. Look at that. Like, they don't bear any culpability. There's a difference to me between a congregation like this. This should be the thumbnail. A congregation like this and my friend's, grandfather, who was basically a shut-in and lived by. And the other thing was the guy lived by himself. You know what I mean? Like, you get these elderly people who live by themselves, very lonely people, very vulnerable, want to be part of something.
You talked about getting your family back. That's so bad.
Those people to me are in a different category than these well-to-do people. You got a Bible, bro. What are you doing? Listening to this lady.
Yeah.
Little white lady running around in a Versace dress. Get out of here, man. I don't want to talk about these people anymore. It's so upsetting. I feel so bad for the older people that they take advantage of. These people, man, we're in the wrong business, babe. I need to call up that.
I don't understand that.
Well, you were just defending them like 20 seconds ago.
No, I'm defending the people that get sucked into it. I'm not defending the people that are doing it. I think it's wrong. Those are the people I'm angry at.
There's some people that should know better. Some people, I get what you're saying. This video.
I feel like these people in this crew, they can get that. I'm talking about the people that I talk to. You saw that lady. Didn't you visit her with me?
No.
She wasn't well educated. She didn't have...
Okay, that lady, okay, I'm with you.
And she, like I said, she was sick, and she's talking about, put your money first here, you're going to get your family back together.
And all
she
this.
wanted to see her son before she died.
Man.
It's heartbreaking.
No,
I'm
with you. No, I'm with you on that. That lady has very, very little accountability. But these people, it's not the same. Come on.
I don't understand making the church a business either.
Yeah, these are evil people, man. These are evil people. Like, if you're the leader of these congregations, you're supposed to suffer with the people. Like, that's the example. If you became a pastor or something in the first century, you were dead. Like, you were gonna die, and you're not gonna die a very pleasant death. All these guys nowadays, it's just about being a rock star and yada 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 and saying that you did this. Like, there was a guy we knew, like, he was planning a church downtown. He wanted to do urban ministry, yada yada yada. But he never wanted to get out there and grind. He wanted to go up there and talk for half an hour once a week and collect a check. It's like, man, get out of here, man. Like, you gotta grind with these people.
Yeah.
And man. Man. But good, thank God for Metallica. It's an important song, man. It's an important song. It's a 10.
Yeah, for sure, a 10.
You can't, and the problem is that there should be Christian bands writing millions of songs like this.
She appealed to thousands of Florida congregants.
Of course. Well, what's her net worth? Go check her net worth. What's this one? Paula White. How much you want to bet her net worth is at least $20 million? Go ahead. What do you got?
I don't know.
I got $20 million. You got plus or minus?
Plus.
Oh, she's only made $5 million.
Do you believe that?
No, but I mean, it's...
I feel like that they hide it.
Anyway, this video went way too long. We're very sorry, dear listener. Been out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.